Imagine you are attending a house party. You don't know anybody else at this house party other than the host. You do have intentions, though, of meeting other party guests and getting to know them better. Now, I'll talk about two different scenarios that can occur after you have these interactions with the party guests. In scenario one, you have the interactions with the guests. They are engaging. They are able to recall things, stories that you were talking about. They are deliberately and empathetically listening, and they're providing generally positive feedback. In scenario two, you're having the same conversations, but the guests seem standoffish. They are disengaging. They're not able to recall any of the stories that you're telling, and generally just providing negative feedback. So let's give a little bit of context of both scenarios. In scenario one, you're approaching the guests with appropriate physical space. You are speaking at a volume that is appropriate for the party atmosphere, and you are listening to what the guests are saying. You're able to recall the guests' stories and things they're telling you. In scenario two, you're speaking at a volume that is too loud for the party. You are approaching the guests in physical space that is just not appropriate for them. And you're not listening to what they're saying. You can't recall anything they're saying. So of course they're going to provide negative feedback. So what are you learning from these two scenarios? Communication competency. Communication competency is the process by which interpersonal impressions are shaped and satisfactory outcomes are derived from the interactions. The 6 components are adaptability, appropriateness, empathy, effectiveness, conversational management, and conversational involvement. Can you think about those components in the two scenarios I talked about? We were talking about physical space. We were talking about listening to what the guests had to say. They were talking about adapting to the tone and the volume of the party. This is all very important because when communicating, the message transmission is surrounded by the 6 contexts that I talked about in the reel I did a couple weeks ago. The 6 contexts, again, are culture, space, physical space, social, temporal, psychological, and environmental. Again, think about a party. Think about all those contexts at a party. Think about the space. Think about the mood people may or may not be in. Think about the time of day that the party's occurring. Think about, where is this taking place? Is it taking place, is it taking place at a friend's house? Is it taking place at a restaurant or a bar? What are expectations? Are you looking to network for business purposes? Are you looking to just meet new people for social interactions, et cetera, et cetera? Throughout our childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, we learn how these components are weaved into our interactions. We intuitively understand and know how to adapt to different settings, what's appropriate, how to be empathetic, how to be effective, how to involve and manage the conversations. So just like language is acquired from birth, so are our competencies. And that's why it's important to understand our competencies and perhaps others' competencies to make us more aware, empathetic, and understanding.